just to ensure they are on the right track with their businesses. Julie Owino, KTN News.
Very interesting. They're talking about mentorship in business. Well, moving on, President Uhuru Kenyatta has directed the Ministry of Energy to review electricity tariffs in a bid to lower power costs for small businesses in the country. Now, the president called on the Ministry of Trade to create the right business environment to ensure traders at the Gikomba market flourish in their business. A tough-talking president spoke at the SME roundtable held at Strathmore University in Nairobi. KTN's Julie Owino reports.
An emotional occasion it was.
Kuja ndani kabisa kwetu. Ujione vile wafanyabiashara wako wanateseka.
Where small-scale traders from all spheres express themselves one after the other.
I want you to bring a sign that says protected by the government of Kenya.
Signs of disappointment and frustration over an uneven business environment.
In the morning, there are people on strategic process with their money, with a book. If you come in the morning, 10,000, 2,000, 4,000. In the evening, you return the money with a huge profit.
The traders raised a raft of issues from high taxation, poor working conditions at Gikomba open-air market, and importation of fish from China, which have dented prospects at the market.
Saying increased production in our country of cage fish is very important, and we are going to create jobs. And more so, we are going to eliminate and contribute 1% of rural to urban migration.
After an overwhelming account of moving testimonies of hardships, the president yielded ground and issued a set of directives. Among them, the Energy and Regulatory Commission, ERC, has been tasked to review the electricity tariffs in the next 1 month. This aims to reduce the cost of electricity that is high and is among the top challenges facing entrepreneurs.
Na leo hii mimi naamurisha waziri within 1 month, ureview mambo ya bei ya stima haswa kwa hawa wananchi.
The president further urged for patience and vowed to improve the state of affairs at the Gikomba market.
Lakini vile nilikuwa nimeambia wenzangu hapa, leo hii siwezi kusoma. Mimi nina aibu kubwa sana, siwezi kusoma. Mimi nasema turudi hapa baada ya mwezi moja, tukiwa na majibu kamilifu ambaye tayari tutakuwa tumeanza kutekeleza na ambaye mtakuwa mnayaona.
Julie Owino, KTN News.
Very, very interesting talks there in terms of SMEs. Well, this afternoon, we are talking about what SMEs need. Yesterday, during the Roundtable Forum for SME Owners, President Uhuru Kenyatta declined to read his written speech, saying, quote, "I'm sorry that we have not fulfilled our promises. Not even one of my CSs has set foot in Gikomba market. We have neglected SMEs that pay taxes and employ 75% of our people," end quote. Well, joining us in studio are Hannington Mambo and Jeff Njau to talk SMEs and what they need. Welcome, gentlemen.
Welcome. Thank you.
Well, Jeff Njau is our business development consultant, and Hannington Mambo, very interesting. You're on the committee of that was selected in 2018 cohort of the Tony Elumelu Foundation.
Yes.
Yes? Well, let's start off, gentlemen, this conversation with the president's words there. He is ashamed that the government has neglected SMEs. What do you have to say about that? Let's start with you, Jeff.
It's true, the government has neglected businesses. We were having conversations earlier before the show, and the normal businessman starts a business because the normal perception, how the society perceives or government perceives businesses, that those are the people who did not get into the formal education space, who did not pursue employment, who did not pursue, the formal economy. And because of that, most of the county governments, which have the responsibility of setup of markets, setup of trading areas, only have a perception of these guys as a nuisance. So you'll find city council rushing each and every moment after traders, demolishing. There's been heavy demolitions in 2018, almost everywhere in the country. Kiambu County has been the worst, heavily in Nairobi County, even after voting for a pro-people governor in Mike Sonko. Yet there's been heavy demolitions everywhere. So there's been a perception that the businesses are a nuisance. Yet they employ 80% of the, actually it's not 75, it's over 80% of our economy. If you look at most of the corporates, Malika, you'll find that many of them are downsizing. The big banks, 2017, many of them downsized. 2016, a lot of them even in 2018. The big corporates, all of them, they cannot be able to absorb the people who are coming out of the economy. So many of them start businesses, they end up being entrepreneurs. And immediately you start, the first person you encounter is city council. We call them Kajo. Kajo is the worst person to business. So
definitely a hindrance, not a help. And Hannington, let me bring you in now. Well, Hannington, let me first elaborate, is actually, of course, on the 2018 cohort of the Tony Elumelu Foundation. And this foundation itself is very interesting because it's the entrepreneurship program, the largest in Africa. It's a philanthropic initiative. In fact, the founder was Tony Elumelu, a Nigerian economist, entrepreneur, philanthropist. And I believe that his vision is that in 10 years, he wants to commit $100 million and he wants to create 1 million jobs. He wants to empower 10,000 African entrepreneurs in this decade. And so they pick 1,000 from Africa every year. And you were one from Kenya this year. That's I'm sure, very, very encouraging. So you, as somebody who has been through this program, we'll talk more about that in a bit. What do you have to say about the SMEs being neglected?
I thank you. I think I want to give one small perspective about some of the efforts that the government could make to help improve the SMEs in the country. And this comes from part of the history and studies that have been done about growth and development of SMEs across the globe. And I want to take just one example. So one of the things that we are still trailing behind is that nobody's monitoring how SMEs business with the corporates is being conducted. And specifically, one of the issues affecting SMEs largely is the payments. The corporates take a very long time to pay the SMEs, and we have no regulations or guidelines on how these are supposed to be conducted. And why I'm mentioning this is there's a study that was conducted in Germany, Britain, and the US, and they figured out that the delay in payment was actually hurting the SMEs even more than lack of business. And when regulations were implemented in Germany, in Britain, and in Australia, the economy of Germany, actually the GDP doubled simply by requiring that all SME businesses must be paid their dues within 30 days of the delivery of the service. Here we still have people doing business with the government or with the counties or with various institutions, and you can wait for your money even for up to 2 years.
Very tragic, of course.
Yes, so that kills business. So that is one area that really need to be addressed.
Especially when it comes to accountability of corporates to pay SMEs. And, you know, they all exist in the same ecosystem, so there has to be some kind of dependability factor there. But I want to continue that, you know, you had this 3-month training based off of this program that you qualified for. And I want to know, what are some of the key lessons that you took away as an entrepreneur from something that is focusing on the entire continent's entrepreneurial spirit?
I think, let me give a brief of the Tony Elumelu program, because we may not remember some of these things at the end of it. So one is that it's, as you mentioned, the largest philanthropic entrepreneurship program in Africa. And the idea is to promote 10,000 entrepreneurs over the period of 10 years by selecting, training and financing 1,000 every year. And previously, Kenyans have been participating, and in the last 3 years, we so far have a total of about 374 who have benefited from this program. This year, there's 74 of us. Now, The training in this is quite insightful and useful. In fact, it has been ranked by some people as probably at the MBA level.
So what's the greatest lesson you took away from it?
So the greatest, for me, of course everyone takes the greatest in their own perspective, but I think for me the greatest is being able to align your tasks with achievements.
Okay.
So it is not just waking up to go to the office at 8, but at 8, what is it that you want to do between 8 and